Hey guys, Greg here from CARiD.com. If you own a Ford Expedition and it's time to replace the struts, well, check out this video because I'm going to show you how. Hey guys, Greg here. Welcome back to the shop, and today we've got this 2010 Ford Expedition in here, and the owner of this truck has been complaining about overall poor ride quality. Specifically, when he hits a bump, he feels it a mile down the road. Now, upon further inspection, we diagnosed it, and the front and rear struts are shot on this thing. So today, we're going to address that by installing a set of new Monroe Quick Struts front and rear, and I'm going to show you how. The great part about these quick struts from Monroe is, unlike a traditional strut, when you purchase those, you literally just get the strut assembly. These Monroe quick struts include a new strut, new coil spring, as well as a top strut mount. So it takes out all of the guesswork and you don't need to buy any additional parts. It's all in one brand new assembly. Now, the other great part about these struts is they don't require any special tools to install them, unlike replacing traditional struts that require a spring compressor because you need to transfer the factory coil spring over to your replacement struts. So that means you guys can install a set of these yourself in your own garage using only basic hand tools, and today I'm going to show you how. Like I said, guys, today we're working on a 2010 Ford Expedition, but the parts that we're installing fit a wide range of these trucks. The front struts fit anything from an 07 to 13, and the rears 07 to 17. I'm going to leave a link in the description for both of these struts, front and rear, so you can make sure you guys get the right parts when doing this job yourself. All right, guys, to get this factory strut out, we have to start by unbolting the upper control arm from the steering knuckle, and so we can swing that out of the way. Now, I've already taken the liberty of spraying everything with penetrating oil because, as you can see, this truck is just about 11 years old, so everything is a little bit rusty. Penetrating oil is going to be your friend. Make sure to soak everything down well. We'll start with a 21mm bolt for this upper control arm. You're going to want to leave a couple threads on the ball joint to catch the steering knuckle, and you're going to tap this gently to kind of dislodge it from the upper ball joint, like so. All right, guys, we've hit a little bit of a snag. The short and sweet of it is this vehicle does spend some time on the beach, and that salt air has not been kind to it. Pretty much meaning that this upper ball joint is not coming out. We've tried heat, we've tried penetrating oil. No, nothing's gonna work. So what we're gonna end up doing is replacing the upper control arms on both sides, because I'm gonna have to cut this ball joint to be able to get this thing out of here. Sometimes it happens. All right. Come on, baby. I was a little nervous about these top strut nuts, but believe it or not, they actually are coming loose, because they are very corroded. Once again, this is when penetrating oil is your friend. All right, guys, now we have to take out this huge bottom bolt holding the strut assembly. It's going to be a 27 on this side, and you're going to need a 30mm socket on this side, and I suggest using air tools to get this off. Okay. And she's wedged down there. There she goes. Guys, now with these strut assembly out, we can finish taking out these upper control arms. Now, I know we didn't intend on replacing these upper control arms, but if you do have to replace yours on your Expedition, keep in mind, you cannot get these things out with the strut in place. You have to remove the strut first to be able to get to them. There we go. All right, guys, like you saw, we had to cut out the factory control arms on this thing because they were rusted solid. So I've got a new set of Moog control arms that we need to get installed on this truck before we can proceed with our strut installation. These have to be installed before the strut. You can't get the bolts in any other way. All right, guys, I'm gonna slide the new control arm into position here. These bolts need to be fed from the inside out. So there's one. There's two. Now, I'm not gonna crank these bolts down yet because I wanna make sure that the vehicle is gonna be loaded in that ride height when I tighten these bolts down to make sure that I don't ruin these brand new control arm bushings. But now that this is loosely in place, we can get our strut installed. All right. Stick one nut on it, hold it in place, and line up our lower control arm bolt at the bottom of the strut. Need a little love tap, and that's in. All right, guys, with all that in place, I'm gonna finish putting on our top strut nuts and get those tightened down. And then really it's just a matter of getting everything reassembled. Of course, I don't have a 21 ratchet wrench, so this may take a while. Always don't forget to grease these new ball joints once you put them in, or else they will wipe out very quickly. All right, guys, like everything else in this front end, these sway bar links were completely corroded. So we're gonna do some preventative maintenance and just replace them now while we're in here. So I have a brand new set of Moog sway bar links that we're gonna get installed right now. One thing I love about these Moog parts is the fact that they're serviceable. Notice these grease fittings on this new sway bar link. That's gonna allow you to add grease when needed during every service. Same thing with our upper control arm. What this does is give all of these parts a longer service life on your vehicle. All right, guys, we're getting ready to start on the rear suspension of our Expedition, and it's a very similar process. I'm going to use the trans jack to support the lower control arm underneath the strut, and then loosen the top 3 strut bolts, bottom strut bolt, and then we're actually going to unbolt the control arm from the subframe on this truck and lower that down completely to take the old strut out. Now, what I like to do is actually throw a bolt through this hole up top there and pivot the trans jack to kind of go at the same angle of the lower control arm. Now the bolt is going to prevent the trans jack from sliding while we're jacking it up and down. All right, now we're going to loosen our top 3 strut bolts with a 15mm ratcheting wrench. Now luckily we've been soaking these in penetrating oil, so everything so far is coming free. As you guys know, we had a pretty hard time in the front end of the truck from all this corrosion. All right, now I'm going to loosen the control arm itself from the subframe. I want to do this by hand just to make sure everything breaks free.
Nice and easy. Now we're going to gently lower this control arm down. That might happen, might just get a little stuck. So pry bar, hammer is a great way just to free it up a little bit. There it goes. All right, guys, I've got one nut supporting the strut on the top strut mount. Now, I just want to line up the bottom strut bolt and just throw this bolt through to keep this stationary in the control arm. There we go. All right, I'm going to gently raise this back up into the subframe pocket. There you go. Beautifully slides right in. It's never a good idea to pull the strut up into its mounts using these studs and nuts. So you want to make sure that the top strut mount is fully seated in the strut tower, then thread the nuts in and tighten them down. Now, just like the front, I want to simulate ride height as best as I possibly can with the vehicle on the lift. So I'm going to raise it up just a little bit, and now we'll tighten everything down. Same thing here.
All right, guys, that's going to wrap up our full strut installation on our 2010 Ford Expedition. And even though we hit a few snags in the front end and we had to replace a few more components than we anticipated, this is all still work that you can do in your own garage at home using only basic hand tools. So get out in your garage, start working on your car, start learning something and having fun, and make sure to stay tuned on our YouTube channel for more installation videos just like this one. As always, I'm Greg, and I'll see you guys next time.